So the South African Motor Body Repairs Association is appealing to the South African Insurance Association to release key vehicle history of second-hand cars to consumers who intend on buying these vehicles. Now, as things stand, there's no way for a consumer to find out if the second-hand vehicle that they're buying has previously been written off. Insurers routinely write off vehicles, and these cars are sold to auction yards. To get a sense of some of these issues, we're now joined by Richard Green, who's National Director at the South African Motor Body Repairers Association. Richard, thanks very much for your time. Welcome to the AM Report. Let's start by understanding your association and who you represent. Tell us a bit more.
SAMRA stands for the South African Motor Body Repairers Association. We represent, you could probably call it the formal side of the panel beating industry. We have approximately 968 members nationwide. This appeal comes from years of experience where motor dealers, private clients purchase vehicles, and they come full cycle, end up back in our member shops. And when we take off the exterior panels, we find extremely poor levels of repair. So hence the appeal to SAIA to enable a customer who is a potential used car purchaser to find out whether it's previously been written off.
Right. And, we have the Consumer Bill of Rights, which allows for consumer protection, and it speaks to this idea of ensuring that there's enough information for whatever reason. Give us an idea of how you feel consumers are being let down as things stand insofar as this is concerned.
Well, it's quite simple. If you have information that can empower you to make a better purchase choice, then our belief is that that information should be made available, and this is not the case here. So if you go onto a used car lot and you look at a motor vehicle, it can look good from the outside, but hide an enormous amount of ills just under the skin. What is happening with these cars is they're going to salvage yards when insurers write them off, and they are bought online or physically at the auction yard. And these vehicles are so-called uneconomical to repair. This is the statement used in the short-term motor insurance industry. So it confounds me as to how it suddenly becomes economical to repair being sold at a salvage yard. If you've written it off, you've written it off. So the written off vehicles get repaired. Either two things happen that are nefarious. One, they get bought in order to, remember, they are code 2. So they are still referred to as second-hand cars when they are in that salvage yard in that wreck state. So you can purchase that, you can repair it poorly if that's your nature, and you can sell it through the various systems available to you, and an unsuspecting consumer can buy a car that's been extremely poorly repaired. The other one is that people buy these wrecks in order to access the paper, which is a code 2 registration document, and they then use that document to register a stolen vehicle. So it comes down to consumer safety and crime. These are the two things that are being allowed to take place through the system, Ayanda.
Right. And at which stage of that system do you think the intervention needs to come in? Because you have insurers who are the ones who are actually declaring that some of these vehicles should be written off, but you also have dubious repairers who are the ones interacting with unsuspecting buyers who then end up becoming victims of what I think we can call a scam. So at which stage of that value chain do you think the intervention in terms of amending the laws needs to come in?
Well, I think you have to stop it before it gets, or control it prior to it getting to the salvage yard. I think once it's in the salvage yard, that's the informal part of these various sectors, and very, very difficult to control, almost impossible to police. So I think, although it's extremely difficult and places short-term insurers in an invidious position, it has to be controlled from their side. And I believe that if they just take the information they already have and put it on an open website, that can at least enable the consumer to access the VIN, the vehicle identification number, which is on the windscreen of any car on the license plate. So it's the easiest, and it is like your and my birth certificate. So you can then identify that car as being previously written off. That doesn't mean that you don't buy it. You're just informed correctly by the information that's already available. So we should stop it there. And of course, there is a second stage of this where, the Second-Hand Goods Act, which seeks to control the copper wire theft, for instance. We do need to look at the regulatory framework within the salvage yards and beyond that.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for getting us into the picture. It's an issue that I imagine has affected many South Africans who have found themselves a little too late on the receiving side of some of these cracks in the system. But thanks very much for your time indeed. Certainly do appreciate it. Richard Green is National Director of the South African Motor Body Repairs Association.